Hello Sagittarius, let's get into your 2024 year ahead reading. I love doing these readings. They are something I've been doing for a few years and I get great feedback throughout the year. But I would really appreciate if you were to share the love as you watch this video and let me know what you think or if this resonates to what you might have already seen for yourself in terms of what lays ahead next year. And if you're a returning viewer, you may notice I look a little different this year. A lot different, perhaps. So yeah, there's been big changes overall since last time I did a year ahead reading for Sagittarius. Now let's get into it. What I've done is pulled a card for each month of the year, and I will be pulling another card to clarify from another deck. That helps me see where the repeating themes are. If there are duplicate cards, of course, that's going to be a little bit more validating or confirming or just interesting to see how the themes of 2024 might be linked month through to another month. Okay, so a couple of things that are coming up already. We have two aces. One is at the very beginning of the year, the Ace of Cups, a beautiful heart opening, joyful and connected card in January. And we also have an Eight of Pentacles a little while later in May. We have a couple of pages coming up in the first half of the year too. Let's talk about the Ace of Cups. January opens with pretty much a high, a feeling of connection. This card can also speak to something more metaphysical at times. Like the dove to me is very symbolic of something divine. So I think a lot of you are in tune with this kind of like higher power, or you feel really connected to source. You really feel connected. Your relationships are thriving. Your heart is wide open and you feel like you could possibly burst with happiness at a certain point in January. I love that. Whatever you throw your hat at in January, it really seems like it's coming from the heart. So to me, that's a great indication that usually with any ace, you know, Sagittarius, it suggests that this will be an alignment for you, that this is something where you're really on the right track. This talks to me about you making a lot of progress on something, and it's something like that's quite near and dear to your heart as well. So it's definitely a direction that you're going to have success in when you apply yourself there, if that makes sense. Of course, the Ace of Cups can speak to new friendships, new romantic relationships. It could speak to your romantic relationship deepening, and it could also speak to a situation with a new friend or a friend coming together. Oh my God, whoa, I love this. The Two of Cups, what great validation from the Ace to the Two of Cups, that there is a very loving situation in your life that is growing. So the Ace to the Two, this is something, if you are looking for a union, if you're looking for romance, if you're looking for a love connection, this might be a great month to open up to those blessings coming in for you pretty soon, or in the month of January. If you're in a relationship, then it just suggests that this is going to be taken to a deeper level and becoming more conscious. There could be a lot of healing in all or in one particular relationship of yours. If it's not really focused about relationships, although I'm inclined to think it is, this would just tell me that you feel like really in love with yourself and that there's just a lot of love surrounding you. And January kind of is this starting off like as if you're kind of in this womb space of protection, and you just feel really safe and really happy. So I love that start to the year for you. Looking at February, we have the first of the pages that are showing up with the Page of Pentacles. So this talks to me about some sort of a project or some sort of a field of research. You have all these ideas, you have all these thoughts downloading, and it speaks to some sort of a newer experience that you're having in February. I'm inclined to think if you don't have a little bit of background experience in this already, you at least have dreamt of it, or you at least have like put it on your vision board. So there's something about what ideas you're having in February, the new experiences you're starting to have, they are linked to something that's already known for you, even if it's just on a kind of like dream or aspiration level, or there actually is a little bit of practice, like you've already taken a class in this, you've already done a course, or you've already researched online, like there's something about it you kind of know about. Now, the Page of Pentacles also speaks to being a student, being a teacher, instructing a class, taking a class, enrolling in courses, another page at the bottom of the deck, and wow, the Three of Cups. So all of this beautiful ace to the 2 to the 3 to the cup kind of situation is like speaking about friendships and relationships blossoming and thriving and growing at the beginning of the year rather. The Page of Cups at the bottom of the deck, yeah, there is something about the ideas that you're having and the new experiences that you're starting to have. They are shared with other people. So it's not just like this solo endeavor, although part of it might feel like, no, I'm doing this alone. I'm the one researching, I'm the one planning, I'm the one enrolling in the class, or I'm making this instruction manual, or I'm like teaching people. It's actually it's going to benefit more than you. That's all I'm saying. Like, it's going to benefit a community. It's going to benefit your circle, your inner circle. It's going to benefit your students, or it's going to benefit like your family or the generations to come after you. So the experiences you're having are really important on an emotional level and on a very healing level. And that might not look like that on the complete surface, but it sort of seems like there's something deeper about all of this. The other great thing is, through January and February, you're really starting to see the people who come through for you and who support you and raise you up. There could also be a bigger celebration in February. You could be celebrating a graduation, you could be celebrating somebody achieving something or learning something or hitting a milestone. You yourself might be celebrating a milestone or celebrating some sort of a breakthrough, and it's really overwhelmingly a very positive start to the year. Now, looking at, I think, March and April together, I think we should do that. This probably looks like where there is the more challenging part of the year for you to overcome. Lo and behold, it lines up with the eclipses. So we have March, the Devil card. This could be aligning with the end of the month with that eclipse in Libra. It's a South Node eclipse on the 25th of March. And it's going to be about letting go of a fear, it seems like for you, that's very, very entrenched. This one has its claws in. And then in April, with the second eclipse of this sort of springtime, there is a North Node Aries eclipse. It's happening around the 8th of the month. So that whole portal basically between like the second week of March to about the middle or third week of April, there is this eclipse season window with activated hotspots, end of March 25th, beginning of April the 8th. And the Ten of Swords coming through would be kind of making me think like, oh, isn't that a North Node eclipse in Aries in April conjunct Chiron, which is the symbol of our kind of original wound, and we all have one. It's all going to be different for every single person, but there's something about it that is activated at this time. So between March and April, your wounds are being dredged up, your insecurities, your fear, your self-limiting beliefs. And for some of you, I'm inclined to think, because Chiron is activated, like I spoke about in April, that there's something like very dated with this. Like, not that it's invalid anymore, but that it's so, like, it almost seems like it's part of your psyche. And the thing about the Ten of Swords is like, but now we're ready to reach a critical turning point here, because the tens represent the end of a cycle. So on some level, you're done with it. Funnily enough, the Eight of Swords in reverse pops up during the other eclipse in Libra, the final one that we're going to see for like we won't see another Libra South Node eclipse after October of this year for like another 18 years. So that Eight of Swords in reverse coming up in October to me is just like, okay, we get to work Sagittarius March and April on what needs to be flushed out and deeply purged. And you might say, oh no, that's part of me, like that's never gonna happen, like are you kidding, like I'm always going to be afraid of this, or that's always going to trigger me, or that's always going to haunt me. I'll always regret that. I'll always shame myself for that. Well, I don't think so. That the thing is, the beautiful thing is about this is really representing a turning point in that storyline. It's almost Plutonic. It's almost like the fear, the self-limiting belief, and some of it is really rooted in the past or in insecurity and all of those things. And they're very real, but they are also not adequate anymore for the timeline that you are clearly desiring to move into, this really like supported, uplifting, connected, harmonious way of living. That's what you came here to do, believe it or not. Here's you at the bottom of the deck. This really fiery kind of like successful and philosophical Sagittarius. You know, you were here to learn and have amazing experiences. Now, of course, we're in a Saturnian realm, so the Devil card, the fear frequency, it's so normal, but there's a part of it to me that seems a little dated for you. Let's look at the Devil card. So yeah, the temptation to kind of default is here. The Five of Wands, and the temptation to kind of take things out on other people could be here for you, the Five of Wands. Now, things that are boiling to a kind of like more of a feeling of tension, or like if things are presenting themselves to be tense, to be kind of like an inner turmoil, a tension within yourself, that's probably going to come up in March for you. It's going to be very teaching for you. You might actually decide like, okay, sometimes I'm on, sometimes I'm off. Like you're seeing this real duality within yourself, I think, in March. And I think you sort of see that in December as well, where you're starting to be okay with like, maybe it's like this kind of like, I don't know, your Gemini qualities. Like we all have a Gemini part of our chart. It's like, for me, it's like, well, when I'm on, and when I'm out and about, and when you have me, you have me. But when you don't, I'm like going to be secluded. So there is this like tension, I think, for you coming up. Like, and I think that's like normal, because the Libra South Node eclipses are going to be shedding light for the collective on where we kind of like people please, or where we just pretend for the sake of like politeness or easiness or superficiality. Whereas like, I think, yeah, there's the Sun card, like this authenticity in you is really trying to escape and come out. Right, okay, so yeah, there is a tension coming up then in March. Let's have a look at April. You've got the Ten of Swords, and you're really ready to be done with this saga. You've reached a critical turning point now mentally, and it can feel defeating sometimes, and it can feel difficult, the Ten of Swords, but ultimately this is here to set you free from something that you actually may never have believed that was going to be possible for you. And there's even maybe a part of you that doesn't fully want to let this go. But the thing about that eclipse for the collective, it's conjunct Chiron. We're really letting go of our collective victim mentality, victim wound, and addressing that victim wound and becoming more empowered. That's the collective journey. So you might be really like part of that kind of wavelength. Okay, so the Moon card here. Yeah, this is it's tempting for this to be kind of like one of the more engulfing parts of 2024, where there can be like a spiralic quality to it. The chaos is actually going to be quite cathartic, and I'm sure, Sagittarius, you've lived a life now at this point. You could probably draw on some sort of experience that you've had in the past before that has turned out better than you expected, or you possibly thought would would defeat you ultimately, and it didn't. And we see the Strength card later in the year, and we will be needing to remember that and like draw on our strength at a certain point. But this is kind of where you might not be ready to fully admit or to sort of see yourself as this strong victor yet, and that's okay. It's okay if you're not. You will eventually, even later in the year, but at this point in March and April, you might still be feeling, in a sense, sorry for yourself, licking wounds and giving into a fear frequency. Just know that that's because this kind of entrenched issue is actually on its way out for you, and the brain is like, well, that's familiar, I don't want to let go of that, I kind of identify with this, or I just don't believe that's possible, or I'm unconscious. I think you're going to be made conscious of it, and the moon card can be so kind of like disturbing in a way, because it really brings our attention to the shadow and to the wounded parts of ourself. So sit with it. It's okay if you're not like, yeah, I feel I'm like ready to let go of that by October. It certainly seems to be a massive turning point. And then let's talk. Then we're kind of like, okay, let's just park that for now. I think that's where you might be at in April. That was a lot. Going into May, June, July, and August, this is a neat little storyline emerging from me now, with a spiritual breakthrough in September, and then a second storyline continuing from March and April for the end of the year. But for now, these next 4 months, May, June, July, August, are something else. Okay, what I'm thinking initially is Ace of Pentacles. You have this opportunity to be a badass. Like, it's just like presented to you to kind of take up some more space, to align yourself to an objective or a goal, and you make this choice to be like, yeah, I'm going to do this feels like it's me, and it's just a great opportunity to prove myself and be a bit more powerful, or step into a leadership role and feel more empowered maybe. And then the Six of Pentacles sort of tells me like, but then there's something that's just not right about it. It's good, it's fine, but it's just not 100%. So then the Page of Rods comes after in July, and it's like, let me reimagine this, let me have some fun, let me explore, let me download some more inspiration, or like let me speak to other people or tweak it, and then it becomes kind of perfect in the Temperance card in August. And then you're like, now I'm fully happy with it. At the bottom of the deck, here we have Temperance coming through at the bottom of the deck with the Six of Pentacles, but this one is upright. So eventually we'll be here with this project, this initiative, this plan, or this direction you're going. Soon it will be Six of Pentacles feeling just right. All systems go, the Chariot card, Temperance card, feeling like it's just in complete flow state, like you really couldn't be getting anything that feels more present and perfect for you. But there is a little bit of like tweaking that needs to be done, but at the same time, it's very much in alignment for you. And I even think just the realization that tweaking needs to happen is something that's also like part of your aligned path and all of that. The Chariot card that's coming through, when I was kind of focused on the Ace of Cups in the month of January, I kept visualizing the Chariot card for whatever reason. And I kind of see like that the Ace of Cups Chariot card, it's like this kind of like all systems go in January, like follow your heart, let that lead the way. If that's towards a person, if that's towards a goal, or if it's towards a destination or a location, or just something you should be doing, work with somebody in a one-on-one way, partnership, it really feels like you should be following your heart there. Now let's just pull a card for each of these cards and fly through the next 4 months here and see what comes through. Okay. Now would be a great time to subscribe, Sagittarius. Leave me a comment. What are you thinking so far? What's resonating? Any of this sound like it's something that you're planning? Like and share, that would really help me get this message through to other people, because it helps with the algorithm. Fantastic. Double the aces, Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Wands. So yeah, you're very inclined to say yes, like say this works for me, and know that it works for you, and just kind of know that there's no hesitation. You feel very much like you're ready to do something, take an action, sow some seeds, plant some seeds, like get going on something, and you feel very inspired. All these aces in the reading, like 3 aces so far, that tells me that one opportunity leads to another in 2024. And like all of these experiences that you're craving, they kind of, it's like a carousel. They kind of open the door for another. Yeah, you couldn't make this up. Here's another ace at the bottom of the deck, the Ace of Swords. So now we have all 4 of the suits: Ace of Cups, Ace of Wands, Ace of Swords, Ace of Pentacles. You are able to, here we go, the Sun card. That's the authenticity that was the issue. Yeah, it's all coming very clear now. Let me just, I'm on a roll, so I'll tie it all up for you now. Looking at the Page of Rods, this is just like fun, flirty, exciting, kind of just like, it's fun and sexy energy actually in the summer, I think, for you. 9 of Pentacles in reverse, but we also have the Knight of Cups. So yeah, okay, I like that a lot. I'm not gonna take those. And finally, let's just clear the Temperance card up for August. Okay, 5 of Cups, but we've got another Ace of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Okay. Because these 2 Knight of Cups are showing up between July and September, there is like this romantic situation emerging where it's like you've been back and forth with somebody, there's somebody coming through. If it's not romantic, it's deeply creative. This is the Pisces energy in September, because there's an eclipse happening in Pisces on the 17th of September. This is a new eclipse series emerging for the collective, so look to your Pisces house. There is something about to start there thematically for like a year and a half, and that gets activated in September. So for some of you, especially those with like a Virgo rising, or indeed a Scorpio rising, you might be noticing a Virgo Pisces rising, a Scorpio Taurus rising, you might be noticing like a romantic relationship is strengthening, deepening, or coming into your life. There are other indicators though that this is something creative that's being birthed, or a project that you really care about that you kind of backed off a little bit, and now you're kind of ready to go back to it from like July, August, and September. Okay, so all of these aces, what I was saying about that before I went on my roll, the fact that you have such an overwhelming amount of aces in this reading, Sagittarius, this is telling me that like there is opportunity for you this year for love. There's opportunity to make money. There's this opportunity to find your purpose. There's opportunity for enlightenment, for insight, for clarity. There is umpteen amounts of possibilities for you because the soil around you is so fertile and rich. So almost anything, and you're a Sagittarius, you're Jupiter ruled, you can manifest whatever it is you wish. So almost anything that you try to achieve or set your mind to or wish for, and take a little bit of action, the hand is here offering it to you, but you have to do something about it, you have to take it. It really seems like it can be just like, what am I trying to say? There's no end to it. It's like, it's great. It's like an overflowing river of gold around you, and it's just like you riding the wave. But you've got to really believe in this, because I just take this as like amazing validation at the moment that you're really onto something. And all of these aces, I'm going to put these ones back, but they came through like, it's going to be so great for you. Now, So in May, you're like, yes, I'm going to do this. Thank you for the offer. That sounds great. Where do I sign up? I want this. And you just feel a strong yes, okay? Because it's an alignment. Now, like I said, though, in June, the Six of Pentacles in reverse is like, this feels fine. It's good. I can see myself doing this. It feels normal and grand, as I would say. But the Sun card is the one little piece of the puzzle that's missing. So you tweak it because it's just not fully authentic, or you're not fully showing up as the truest version of yourself. So we're on this, like, I'm getting a little bit woo-woo, but we're just kind of riding this wave, like this dimension here in the realm, the earthly realm, where the highest frequency you may even start to discover, especially if you haven't already, is love, right? And it leads to enlightenment and compassion and all those great things. As the timelines shift and we're able, and like humanity's consciousness is expanding and a lot more light is flooding in, we might start to realize that a higher frequency even than love is authenticity. How fantastic, because then we're all activating our purpose, because we're being exactly who we came here to be. We're showing up completely true to ourselves. That doesn't mean embodying a constant state of light. That means being real. That means, like with the South Node transiting Libra at the same time this year, Libra is the sign of the other, people pleasing, accommodation, cooperation, nice things, right? But the South Node is showing the shadow element and the outdone by humanity, like where it's actually become rotten or moldy in a sense. It's like, okay, you've overdone that, guys. Whereas the North Node coming through the sign of Aries all year is about more authenticity, more enlightened selfishness, more realness, more rawness, and more like, I don't give a shit what you think of me. This is who I am. You know, we're not looking to be confrontational. I think we're not looking to be controversial, but we have to be okay, I think, collectively with the fact that not everybody's going to like us. We're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but at least then we know we're being real. There might be some eye rolls like, oh my God, did you hear what Sagittarius is saying now? And it's like kind of an invitation for you to be like, yeah, I'm okay with that. Okay, so that's what comes through. Anything that doesn't just sit right with you or well with you on your journey on what you're doing in June, it's just because I think you're not fully expressing yourself and you're holding back, or you're pretending still a little bit. And the Sun card is like, no, we need you to be as pure and real and raw as the day you came out butt ass naked, screaming and crying into the world. It's time to take up some space. You have a real opportunity to be a badass in the month of May. So remember that. And when some sort of a external comes up for you in June that's like, oh well, you know, we don't want you to say that, or like, oh yeah, that the caveat is you have to do this, and you're like, no, that's not going to work for me. Okay, so then we're going into the month of July. I feel like you are not fully believing yet in this kind of like, there is something to do with your looks, right? There's something to do with like your beauty, your appearance, your physical presentation, and you're not fully believing what other people are saying to you, or you're kind of seeing something distorted when you look at yourself, because the Nine of Pentacles in reverse is a very beautiful and pleasant, gorgeous, luxurious and refined energy, but in the reversal there is some sort of a lack of confidence around this, and some of you are thinking like, oh, I need to spend this amount of money on this treatment or this whatever, and that's like another kind of indication towards like where you're needing to be more accepting of yourself, I think, because you're catching the eye of other people. It's not just romantic and it's not just superficial because of how you look. There's something about your energy that's drawing people in. That's the Knight of Cups, and it is possibly romantic. Keep going there, but there is something about you that is captivating, but you're not fully believing it yet. But you are exploring a more fun side of yourself. Yeah, I feel like this is a little bit more just about having fun in July and not taking yourself too seriously, but like if compliments are flowing in, which I think they will be, or if you're just like getting a lot of attention, like soak it up. And if you're feeling like rejecting something about yourself, go deeper and see what that is. It's all about you becoming more of an authentic version of yourself. I think that's what like the main message of this reading is. It's like so many opportunities are flooding in this year. You're going to be tempted to kind of give in to fear and repeat patterns that are in fact quite toxic. But they're here, March and April, that's that like trigger warning couple of months during that first eclipse portal of the year where you're invited into that, but it's ultimately so that you kind of like completely get out of that forever in a way, which is cool. But yeah, like I think that the whole summer, like May, June, July, August, is about you having fun, proving yourself to be a badass, making sure you're being authentic, saying yes to great things that are coming your way. Romance, you're definitely open to that, and it seems to be really in alignment for you. And then there's a spiritual breakthrough that happens in August and September, which sets you up perfectly for what you need to tackle towards the end of the year. So let's go to that. So the Temperance card, yes, I do read this as some sort of like a benevolent protection around you, guidance, but also I get this indication that like you're believing in this more and more, or you're believing in yourself more and more. It's very positive. Some of you, Five of Cups, are dealing with a breakthrough around a grieving process or something like that, where you are perhaps feeling very connected to somebody who's passed. There could be just a connection overall to something that is not on the physical realm. So that could be just that indication, like something that you can't really explain fully, but it feels supportive for you and it feels like it's protecting you. And a spirit guide, an ancestor, there is something quite metaphysical about August, which represents a spiritual breakthrough, which comes right off the bat of things that I didn't want to say like superficial, but they're kind of like image oriented, or just like having a good time, or like just enjoying yourself with people, like not taking life too seriously, partying a bit, like letting loose, and just kind of like not getting too deep or anything like that. That's what July and August looks like. And then towards the end of August going into September, there is this kind of more like spiritual awareness and heightened sense of like there's something that's trying to reach you. It feels purposeful, but it feels protective and safe. That's what I've got there. But yeah, some of you will be kind of like having your focus drawn to something where you are like, in a sense, like mourning a loss of your old self maybe, which would just indicate that there's a bigger period of growth that's underway. And it's like this readiness that you have, Sagittarius, more and more now to gear yourself up to what October and November is bringing, where you're really ready to put to bed the things that were highlighted to you in March and April. Okay, so let's go from there. Okay, what are we at time-wise? Okay, we're rolling with this. But we're at the final quarter of the year now. And I really want to thank you for your energy today, for watching this video with me, and I really appreciate it. So we're seeing the Knight of Cups again. To me, what this looks like is some spiritual cushioning that happens in September, which provides you exactly what you need. And it's a gentle kind of like flow state that you're able to access. Romance, sure, is possible. The dating scene, or your current or by then current relationship kind of improving. Yeah, Ten of Cups. Oh, okay, so we're talking big Pisces energy here. Here we have Knight of Cups and we have Ten of Cups. So the eclipse on the 17th of September is in Pisces, like I said. And we've got this Page of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck and the Page of Wands. So we're seeing these two pages that we saw in February and indeed in July. So the people that are in your life in February, the people that are in your life in July, they're people that you can really at this point rely on to mirror like the best qualities of yourself. And they could be younger than you, they could be from a different background, they could be something that, you know, is unexpected, but they're fun and they love you and they're good friends, and they seem to be on this journey with you this year. Maybe they're going through similar sort of breakthroughs and things like that. Okay, But let's get back to this Pisces energy in September. Pisces is the sign of spirituality overall, or the divine, or the otherworldly elements of the reality that we're part of. And I really feel like you're tapping into that. Pisces is also linked to the 12th house in a sense, and it's also linked to karmic endings. It's the last sign. And it's linked to where we dissolve our karma and where we, our soul, it's kind of linked to the soul returning to the kind of cosmic oceans where we came from, to be in a sense purified and allow all of our karma to dissolve. The 10 of Cups is a very dissolving energy where we kind of let go of a lot of pain. We let go of any resentment or anger towards people, and we're able to become more compassionate. Another Pisces energy, more forgiving ourselves. You might really want to just like remind yourself of how important it is to forgive yourself in September, so that you can cultivate that space and capacity to kind of forgive other people that may need it in your life. But overall, the energy of this eclipse in Pisces for you is actually really gentle, and it allows you to let go of so very much that doesn't serve you anymore. And it's interesting because that's what the eclipses in March and April during Pisces season, in fact, are bringing to your attention, like how much this actually does have a hold on you, how much it isn't healed, and how much it is yearning to be. We even have the Pisces major arcana here, the moon card, but you might with the 10 of swords be seeing the more shadow elements of this, like spiral, fear, delusion, disorientation, ignoring it, like, okay, I just want to just flush that away without even looking at it. By September, you're really ready to face something, and that's why I think you have like had such an enjoyable 4 months leading up to this, with kind of a real stabilizing effect and like a greater sense of authenticity and good people around you. And then you have this like spiritual support in September, but you're really at the end of an emotional cycle in September, and it's leading up to October and November where I really think you're finally done with what this has been. This has been going on for years. This has been going on for a long, long time, right? So you'll know what that is, and you're done. And it's just, everything is healed and soothed and very balmy and very like you're being wrapped up in that cosmic ocean, you know? But like I said, Pisces is associated with endings. So High Priestess just popping out there. Intuitively, you may already know what this is about, okay? What is that thing? What's that fucking little thing that you can't get past? You think you can't get past. It actually seems to be healing so much more and more, especially by September. Okay, the 10 of Swords is a big difference to the 10 of Cups, both representing the end of a cycle, but how that's kind of delivered to you feels and looks and appears to be very different. Okay, so we've got the 8 of Swords in reverse in October. The final Libra eclipse is going to be underway on the 2nd of October. Let's get it out of the way. Let's get into it. It represents a massive like transformation, and that's what the 8s are. Like what happens now in October, the Lover's card dealing with the Gemini, because I have the Knight of Swords at the bottom of the deck. That's even not, remember I talked about that remember, do you know, like that's such a childish thing to say. Remember I talked about that Gemini energy that came through. It was maybe dealing with the Gemini, but it's also like this duality within yourself. Gemini being like this very dual sign, like when I'm on, I'm on, when I'm off, take me or leave me. And Gemini can have that like detached air sign quality to it, where it's like, I don't care what, I'll just present myself in a real fashion, and there's no bad intention, but it's just like, it is quite real. So there we go. Okay. The Lover's card. For some of you, this kind of what you need to get away from isn't necessarily a romantic relationship. I think you're maybe it's about choice with the Lovers card. The people you maybe have chosen to be with help you distract yourself from the root issue. Another way of looking at this would be that there is a certain relationship that is not necessarily romantic, but is a soulmate contract. This is a person you have karma with. Does that mean that it's easy? No, it's probably not, because you, going to get a little bit woo-woo here now again, Sagittarius, we incarnate with contracts, with people. And on the other side of the physical realm, this person and you, it's all love. It's only love. There's nothing else but love. But as you play your role here in the human experience as a spiritual being, this person you've made a contract with to, I want you to kind of teach me a bit more about compassion. I want you to teach me about boundaries. I want you to teach me about self-worth and self-respect. And I want you to teach me about whatever it is, getting out of my own head, believing in myself, being stronger, whatever it may be. And for that reason, they show up as somebody who is deeply triggering for you in this lifetime, who is like this kind of obstacle or opponent even. And it seems like you make choices to kind of get away from this person. Like you'll pick a partner that's so different, or like you'll pick a partner that's exactly the same, or somebody, you'll know what this is, but it's something that's saying like, let's get to this person, to this root, where it all came from. Maybe they've passed at this stage, maybe they're in the physical realm too and there's just distance between you, or maybe they like live under the same roof as you. But it's now an invitation to stop running from this, and that's what's coming through for me. And I think like the great thing is though, Sag, is like by September anyway, you've done so much healing and forgiveness, and like you feel a lot of love overall. And in January, I mean, like you feel so much love for you, to you, around you in January too. So just keep kind of like riding that wave throughout the year. Things are going to happen and things are going to come up, but as the eclipses approach, especially the one in April for the collective, we're really seeing where we can begin to step out of like a victim narrative anyway, take responsibility and accountability. And I guess like, yeah, I know it's like the expectations we have on others, like are they going to be serving us? Like we can have standards, but the expectations might not be serving us. So yeah, your attention is really drawn there anyway. And I do believe a transformation occurs in October where you're truly ready to move on from this kind of once and for all. Now, November, it's still lingering here. I've got the strength card. The November period is like muster up your strength. You know, you're at the tail end of this last leg, last mile of the marathon, but it's been a cycle that you're so ready to be done with. The Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles is going to be representing the choice again, right? It's like a back and forth, and it's like, do I let this go? Do I move on? Where do we stand? Like, what do I do about this? And you're finding strength to transform it. I think the answer is what way you go with it. The way that you could maybe take this, I'm hearing, is like to change it completely, to completely flip the script on this, to not do the opposite, but to do something in a way that's radically different to what you had been defaulting to. Because I feel like this March-April energy is linked to this, and it's all about like default conditioning. Yeah. Okay, so ending the year with the Four of Cups. A part of me sees this, and here's the Four of Cups at the bottom of the deck as I stop shuffling. So funny. Let's just see what's under that. Oh, the Tower. Okay, interesting. It's like that Homer Simpson meme where like he's fading back into the bushes, and it is that kind of like withdrawal. But for me, it's kind of like seeking peace, right? It's not that you're like avoidant here. It's like you are protecting your peace in December. You might be thinking back, reflecting on the year and sort of saying like, it's not worth it for me to fight these battles when ultimately the war is with yourself. In a sense, it always is. Like, that's what it's going to be, us against ourselves forever. And you might start to realize like how much energy you have wasted, not in 2024, but just in general, on like this battle with people that you can't change. They're doing their thing. They've got their own karma, their own journey to focus on. The Emperor. I love that because that's the badass I was seeing coming through way back in May. Your opportunity to really be a badass this year is coming through, and you take it in May, I think, and you probably don't. That's why I feel like everyone else notices this from you from May, June onwards. They're like, whoa, look at Sagittarius. Have you seen them? Have you seen how they're moving? Have you seen what they're accomplishing, or how they're asserting themselves? And they're like very inspired by your leadership and your commanding presence. But because this might be new to you, or because some of you might seem to be doing it as a knee-jerk reaction to the shit that comes up in May and March and April, you kind of fully, your body is doing it, but you kind of haven't like caught up to that on a cellular level fully yet, or you haven't accepted it, but everyone else sees it in you. And then there's like, you're still just doing it and it's just happening, but you might not be fully conscious of it yet. And that's why I feel like in July and August, you're like, why is everybody staring at me? Why is everybody like wanting to be around me? Why is everybody wants to hire me, work with me, hang out with me? You're so in demand. And it's just like, because you just haven't processed that this is an upgrade for you yet. But then in September, it really sinks in that this is like, yeah, this is coming to an end for you. That's not going to be part of your narrative going forward. A lot of forgiveness, a lot of healing, not just in romantic relationships. The romantic relationships are a signature that are mirroring something deeper. So that promotes healing in your romantic relationships too. But in the relationship that this kind of original wound, the Chiron thing, in the relationship that it just kind of, it set the tone for you on something that you never were able to fully get around, and now you are getting around it in the best way possible. You completely change it. Okay, so then by December we've got the Emperor card, and you're like, oh, okay, so I am a complete badass. Oh, so I am completely righteous. Oh, I am a leader. Oh, I do have a right to be the authority of my life, and I do have a right to have respect from others and people, for people to look up to you and sort of like come to you for this sort of advice, and come to you for support and to help them feel confident, and you feel incredibly confident. But it is still this like, when I'm out and about, I'm out and about, catch me while you can. I'm here for a limited time only, because there's something very much about the Four of Cups saying like, you really value your peace and privacy as well. Well, Sagittarius, that's going to be your 2024 year ahead channeled reading using the tarot. I think that this is a great resource to check in with throughout the year, because of course it's a lot of information to take on now. And you might not be even thinking about tomorrow, let alone December 2024, with any luck. But it was a pleasure to read for you, and thank you for being here and sharing your energy with me. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.